Hi, everybody. I think we're live. Okay. Hi, everybody. Very, very good to see so many of you logging on already. This is most exciting. So, I'm going to be doing a live now with Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winde. So, let's invite him onto the chat. Ah, there you go. I'm definitely getting better with technology as each day goes by with these live videos. Alan, how are you?
I'm very, very good. And you?
Good to hear. I was obviously a little bit concerned about your health because you went into a quarantine situation recently because you had been exposed to the virus, or what happened?
Yes, very sad. Lungile Tom, the cameraman from
Yeah,
ENCK, who actually passed away because of the virus. He and I were
yeah,
together 2 weeks ago. And because it's the second time that I've actually done this, but he and I were together 2 weeks ago. And unfortunately, the virus got him and he actually
shit.
has passed on. But the right thing to do, I can't tell everybody else to do it and not do it myself.
Yeah,
So the screening said that I was fine, when you go for the medical screening, it'll tell you that whether you're a direct contact or a casual
yeah,
contact. So I was
yeah,
seen as a casual, but I also erred on the side of caution. I don't want to be the one that spreads the virus. So for
yeah.
the second time now, gone into 14 days
Wow.
of isolation. But I mean, with lockdown level 5, we were so used to it anyway. I mean, I run
Yeah,
everything off a laptop nowadays. I think everyone's lives has changed.
I
Uh,
know.
we, we sit on the other end of an electronic device and
Yeah.
interact with the world. Yeah.
Thank goodness I've got a good looking phone because Phil Ramaphosa said that hugging and kissing is a thing of the past.
Oh, I'm a
Um,
hugging kind of guy, and that's really bad. Can't give
yeah,
anybody
I
a
know.
hug these days.
I know. Trust me, it's very sad for me too. So I wanted to know, what did the screening process look like for you? What did it like? Take me through how it was. Was it painful? Were there a lot of people doing the tests around with you? How did it work?
Okay, so I did mine just online,
Yeah,
and then had a further interaction with the health department.
yeah,
And obviously, I was in a press conference. There
yeah,
was a whole lot of us that were in the press conference, but I had the longest interaction. And so they ask you various questions. I remember they're slightly different to the first screening, because the first screening was, if you remember back a few weeks ago, have you had any contact with international travelers,
yeah,
or have you traveled internationally? Where now the international travel component of our virus spread is not an issue anymore. Now it's community transmission. So
yeah,
have you experienced any sore throats or chest, and then also have you been in contact with any known positive cases? Of course, that was the one answer that was yes. And then,
mm,
what was the contact like? I mean, of course, when we did have contact, it was masks on and sanitizer and social
sure,
distancing. So we were following the rules. But also, I say to anybody who comes into contact, protect your fellow citizens. So isolate yourself.
yeah,
Or if you're elderly, or you have one of the comorbidities, if you have diabetes, or one of those TB, high blood pressure, etc., you must protect yourself, and we need to protect families who are in that space. But so I did the positive thing, or the right thing, and tucked
good.
myself away.
Good. This is obviously an unprecedented crisis, and I think I'm really proud of South Africa. I'm proud of how it was all handled. Obviously, there's a few things that could have been done along the way. I think, like a lot of people, we question a lot of silly rules that we think we don't understand why they were put there and why they were made. But I think the idea behind the lockdown was to give the healthcare system a little bit of a break so that if everybody all of a sudden did get it, that there would be a little bit of relief. How many ICU or hospital beds does the Western Cape have at the moment? Like, are we ready for if this does have to hit a spike and all of a sudden a lot more people get infected?
So, first of all, let me say that the lockdown is also not only slowing the spread and lowering the peak, but it's also about getting rid. So, I mean, we have in excess of 7,000 hospital beds in the province. We've made 4,000 of those beds available for COVID-19. Our peak comes at the end of June. We know that we, at the peak, with what we've already got, we're about 1,000 beds too few on the high care space, and we're 750 beds too few in the ICU space. We're not able to really make a difference to ICU. That is not only about whether you've got the bed and all the equipment, but you also need the trained staff. So we've focused not on the ICU beds, we've focused on the high care beds, and we've 1,400 extra beds in place, and we've still got capacity to put even more if we need. So the hospital bedside, according to the epidemiologists and the doctors and these big teams that come and advise us every week, we're well on track there and we're fine. It's also about the protective gear. It's about, all the rest of the equipment. So I think for the health response, we're okay.
Okay. Infections are currently rising. We know that. Do you think that we're going to hit a capacity? Do you think that we're going to have an influx of infections?
Yes, absolutely. So I can tell you right now that next week there'll be double the infections that we've got this week. So
but then is lockdown working?
See, you'll never stop the virus from actually reaching its peak and then going over the other side. Our peak is going to be the end of June, beginning of July. We should have 80,000 symptomatic COVID-19 cases in the province in that 1 week. 80,000. So that's a lot of cases. Okay, but you must remember 90% of people who get it don't need hospital care. In actual fact, many people who get it won't even know they've got it. Those who do get it and know they've got it and get tested, or even if you don't get tested, you'll know that you've got this flu. You isolate yourself, don't spread it to other people. And if you you feel you're getting worse, you're starting to breathe difficultly, etc., then you need to phone the call center and then present yourself to one of the facilities. And then of the 10% that go through our facilities, 82% are going to be fine. But there are definitely, we are going to have casualties. And the norm across the world is about 1,000 deaths per million. And there's nothing to say that we're going to be any different to that. Our death rate to cases at the moment is 1.76%, which is under the 2% norm. So we're still okay. And we monitor those every single day, but there will be casualties. And that's why everyone else has to be so careful and follow the golden rules.
Sure, 100%. It looks like the rest of the country is preparing to go into stage 3 of their lockdown, where Western Cape could potentially move to lockdown 7. It looks like it. When a decision is made in Parliament, can provincial premiers like yourself overrule what a government lockdown says or what government says on lockdowns?
That I don't know yet. I mean, we will have to look at our options if they decide to treat us differently. I am saying that we've got our health response. We now need to make sure we've got a humanitarian and economic response as well.
Yes.
Because you can't have more people dying of hunger than dying of COVID-19. Then you've missed the boat. And so we've said that we've got a different model. We want to focus in on the hotspots and try and cool the number of spread in the hotspots and allow the rest of the province to go to level 3. In actual fact, it's not only the Western Cape, so it's our metros where it's spreading faster, and that's where your densely populated areas are. Any densely populated area is more at risk. But we're saying if the health response is ready, and as long as people are following the new rules of masks and hand sanitizers and social distancing, then we will see a climb in cases, but we will be able to deal with it.
How are hotspots identified?
So when we start to see a real increase in the number of infections, and so what we're seeing now in Tygerberg and in Khayelitsha, we're starting to see hundreds of increases per day. Whereas in Witzenberg, which was our first hotspot, we saw 106 cases in 14 days. In the next 14 days, we've seen 80 cases, and we've now got less positives. So we're finding that we have managed to slow it through interventions of the economy and doing things a little differently. We've managed to slow it, and we're proposing that as opposed to really restricting the economy and restricting jobs and increasing poverty.
Sure. I know that the food relief program in the Western Cape was initially getting like 400 calls a day. Now it's up to 14,000 calls a day. Are we able to sustain these relief packages, I suppose, for our vulnerable communities?
So we really, I mean, this is where government is not the main role player. It's actually NGOs and civil society. And I must say to everybody in the Western Cape, we've got 6,000 NGOs, and every one of you, you are amazing.
I've got a lot of people and a lot of friends that we're putting together sandwiches and food, and it's so, you know what, people in the Western Cape are pretty amazing.
They are absolutely amazing, because it's that people are dropping off at drop points and collecting boiled eggs and sandwiches, and I mean, running soup kitchens, and that's where the majority of feeding takes place. Obviously, government, we put in 70 million rand into feeding. We put initially 50,000 food parcels. We've got another 20,000 from SASSA. We got parcels coming in, via the Solidarity Fund, etc. So lots of food parcels coming in, but really the real impact comes from those street committee kitchens, soup kitchens, NGOs, and just really good people doing amazing things for their
Well
fellow
done to all of those people doing all of that amazing work. Wow, it really does make a difference. Now, of course, the projection for job losses in the Western Cape, I think, was about 200,000. What are those numbers looking like now?
So that is still our projection, about 200,000 job losses, about 27,000 SMMEs are not going to make, small businesses. And that for me is really, really upsetting, because that's where our engine room of our jobs and those small businesses, they make the real big difference when it comes to service product in our region. So
that's been so scary for me, is that to see how vulnerable we are as a society, that just within 2 months, it's amazing how everything can literally crumble and take so much longer now to recover. It's very scary.
Correct. Well,
But you will come.
Look at airlines globally. I mean, half of them are probably not going to exist in the next couple of months. It's just crazy. And so right here, that's why I believe, even though we have higher infections than anywhere else, we've got the health response. We mustn't continue to close down those businesses. Those businesses must be allowed to open, but they must follow a new set of rules. So I get a lot of calls about hairdressers. And,
oh my God, look at me. I need my hairdresser, Alan. I miss her so much. Please can the hairdressers open
into context. Our health workers who are on the front line working directly with COVID positive patients, not only here but globally, have, I mean, if you think of anybody who knows how to prepare themselves and protect themselves, it should be a health worker. And we've seen nurses and doctors dying. So the hairdresser has got direct contact. So what I'm saying is that when you're ready to open your business, and obviously we'll fight for you as soon as possible, but make sure you run your business so that it has the least exposure to the spread of the virus. You got to run your business.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But now, what about our surfers in our parks?
Yeah.
I mean, a surfer out there has got a bigger risk of being bitten by a shark than he does getting COVID. So why are surfers not allowed to surf, and why can't we go hiking?
Okay, so again, that's one of the answers that I'm not able to give. I mean, I just can't believe it. That's why I said we need to have common sense with a number of these regulations, and that one has got no common sense in it. I mean,
why the limited exercise time in the morning? Surely it would make more sense to spread it out throughout the day instead of having thousands of people piling on the promenade.
So can I tell you that even though the president said last time we spoke, sometimes we make mistakes. When you do make a mistake, you need to actually apologize and change it. So I think they know they've made a mistake with regard to the time of exercise, specifically in the Western Cape, because it gets dark so much later. I mean, it gets light so much later. They've made this beaches and parks, and I mean, if you concentrate people onto the pathway, I mean, you actually make it worse for the virus. Open it up, let people.
Exactly.
I suppose in their mindset it was what's going to be easier to police. But we've actually got to also allow citizens to be responsible and play their part in making sure that they're spreading the virus. Because as more and more people open businesses and go out and do whatever they need to do, they have to take that responsibility. We can't police everybody.
we don't want to live in a nanny state either. We don't want everybody telling us what we're doing right or wrong. We've also got to be responsible for ourselves.
But can I
What
say,
about schools?
at that point,
Yeah.
last weekend, I saw photographs of people who were obviously very excited because they could go to their local coffee shop and order a coffee. But I must say, and you could see the coffee shop was taped off, so no one could sit inside, and they were all ordering their takeaway coffee. But everybody was congregating outside the coffee shop, masks off, drinking their coffee.
It's because they miss people.
Not acceptable, because we have to be self-policing. If we want to self-police, then we must do it.
Exactly. But I think a lot of people are getting COVID fatigue and lockdown fatigue. So I think they're missing people so much, and they're just craving a lot of human interaction. But it's hard times that we're living through. What about schools? When are schools projected to go back?
Okay, so I see there's still an argument at the moment. I know that the two provinces that are able to go back are the Western Cape and Gauteng. That was said to us by the minister on Saturday. In my opinion, we need to get back to school sooner rather than later. The data is showing us now that it's the risk. Obviously, everyone's at risk, but we again have to find the balance. We can't risk our future economy and, you know, those grade 11s who are trying to get a good mark so that they can actually make application to university. Those matrics who've got plans for the next year, they've already got into university, and now we're putting them under pressure. Of course, we've got to be cautious. It's just not going back to normal. If you've got any teacher who's at risk, they can't come back to school. But we've got to be creative, but we've got to also get back on with our lives. Yeah,
we do. We can't wait for Cape Town to be back to normal. Do you think we're going to go down to level 3? Or we're going to stay at 5? What do you think is going to happen?
We're at 4 now.
We're 4.
We won't go back to 5.
But what was the difference between level 4 and 5? I was confused with that, because I thought we were going to get cigarettes. We didn't.
No,
we just got limited exercise. There was no real difference between 4 and 5, to be honest.
Walking on the promenade in the middle of the night. At least there are a few more businesses that can go back, and at least you can buy something online. That was one of the regulations that didn't make any sense to me at all, because
the limited shopping didn't make sense to me. Who's deciding what's necessary and relevant?
I like wearing short sleeve t-shirts in winter.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't understand the limits on what we're allowed to buy and what we aren't. I don't know who can decide what's essential and what isn't for some people. But I mean, does it look like we're going to go to 3?
Okay, we're really pushing very hard for it. If you had to ask me right now, I'm not sure how the deliberations went yesterday. I think politically the health department is still stronger than the economics department. So at the moment, on balance, I think that probably Cape Town, Johannesburg, or let's say Gauteng, because it's a range of metros. Cape Town is a metro. Port Elizabeth, etc. I think they're going to try and keep them on 4 and move the rest to 3. But we will continue to fight that we actually get a uniform all move to 3. I think that is the right thing to do, with a zoning in and focusing on hotspot spread areas. But
from your lips to God's ears.
At the moment, on balance, you know, the problem is that it can't be the Western Cape alone asking for this. It's got to be Gauteng as well, because then it's a much easier political pill to swallow at a national level. Exactly.
Any parting closing words that you have for our amazing audience? There's so many people logged on at the moment, all enjoying everything that you have to say. So is there anything that you'd like to let us all know?
To all of you who've been helping us get through this in whatever way it is, whether it's caring for someone who's sick, whether it is just doing your job and making sure that you've got your mask on when you go outside as little as possible, and you do not congregate with anybody, I really thank you. To those of you whose businesses are under such pressure, I feel for you, and we will work as hard as we can to get you the opportunity to open your business again. But please also use this time to innovate and have a look at how your business is going to be the new normal, and also the new innovative business of the future, because we also can't go back to where we were before COVID. We've got to use this as an advantage.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're coming up with these crazy, wacky ideas that are going to be the new normal, innovative, entrepreneurial future of this region. What we've got to do as the world comes out of this, the economy in the world is going to be under huge pressure, and we've got to have that kind of vibrant vibe around us here in the southern tip of Africa, that the rest of the world goes, well, wow, that's the place I'm going to go to because they look like they've got it together. We've all got to do that, and we can only do it together.
I really think that it's moments like this that shape us, who we are as a nation, and shape who we are as a people. And I think we've all just got to learn how to be really kind to each other, kind to our neighbors, and learn to coexist in a way that we can all take care of each other and keep as safe and healthy as possible. Thank you very much for chatting to me.
So that we can
I
have
really appreciate the time that you made for me. When I see you again, I'll give you a big hug.
I'll give you one now, then.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye. I don't even know how to say bye now. Oh, there you go. End. Bye. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will be sure to post this onto my IG and onto my Facebook and Twitter again so that you can watch it if you didn't get the full show. Bye.